What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into another episode of the Daily Juice Podcast. Happy Monday. My name is Matt Perrault. You guys can follow me across all socials at Sports Talk Matt. We'll get the backdrop back to being the other TV background tomorrow, but it's been a crazy couple of days running around nuts and, well, unfortunately, a losing week last week. We had a putt on 18. If Adam Scott makes that birdie putt on 18, it's a 2-1 day. We wind up for the week. One putt for a winning week. Unfortunately, we missed that putt, and so we're down for the week. Went 2-2 on the plays from Wednesday, but we wound up. Not a lot, but we were up. We lost both golf bets yesterday, both 1 unit each, and then we won a unit coming back, so we lost 1 unit there. We had been down about 2 units going into the day, so losing week, we had to win 2 or 3 units on Sunday to have a winning week. We didn't get there, but we did go 1-2 yesterday. We end the NFL preseason with a 12-8 record, so we win. We're profitable there in the NFL for preseason, which is good. So that's a good precursor for what's going to happen here as we head towards the college and pro football seasons. We did open up 0-2 in college football, but I've got something for you guys every day for this week, leading all the way up to week 1. Now, we've got games on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Okay, we got 5 days of college football. So I can't break down every game the way that I want to break down the game for like one podcast. It would be an hour podcast. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you one play every single day leading up to week number 1 on Thursday. So really it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm going to give you bets and picks and plays for college football week 1. We're going to start with one of the bigger games on the slate coming up here today. So I'm probably only going to give you 2 bets a day, like 2 bets on Monday, 2 bets on Tuesday, 2 bets on Wednesday. But I am going to give you a college football bet that will all add up to pretty much a monster card coming up this weekend. So there's no NFL football this weekend. We're done with preseason. The next time we bet the NFL will be on the 5th of September when we kick off between the Ravens and the Chiefs. I told you what I think about the Ravens. You probably know what I'm going to be on coming up on Thursday when that game kicks off between KC and the Ravens. But I've got 1 bet in the WNBA. I've got 1 bet in Major League Baseball and the college football bet to give you guys here on a Monday. But before I give you the picks and the bets and the plays for today, a reminder about the Pick'em contest going on with the Daily Juice BettingPros through Splash Sports. It is a BettingPros Pick 6 contest. $50 to enter. 5 max, up to 500 entries are available for this. Users will select 6 games against the spread. You get 1 point for every correct pick you make. Weekly top 3 payouts, plus the yearly top 25 will get paid out. To join this, you're going to go to bettingpros.com/splash. bettingpros.com/splash. You need to be signed up ahead of week 1 in order to participate in this. bettingpros.com/splash for the Betting Pros Pick 6. $50 to enter, 5 max, up to 500 entries are available. 6 games against the spread every single week. Top 3 every week get paid out. Top 25 get paid out at the end of the regular season for the Betting Pros Pick 6. Go to bettingpros.com/splash to enter that contest. Okay, let's start with the college football game because everybody wants football, okay? Let's start with Clemson up against Georgia, number 1 team in the country. The number is 13.5 or 13 here in Vegas. And by the way, some of you guys were asking me on the Discord channel about the golf bet saying, hey, Matt, you're betting golf plays that aren't available everywhere. Could you bet at DraftKings and FanDuel? What? Guys, not how this podcast works, okay? Sorry. There's bets, picks, prices that are going to differ. I'm in Vegas. Some of you guys are in Vegas. Some of you guys are not. Some of you guys can get to Vegas. Some of you guys can't. Some of you guys have access to Vegas-style books. Some of you don't. Like when I bet at Circa, if you're in Iowa, you can bet that line. If I bet at the Superbook, well, they've closed up a lot of their stuff. I think they're still operating in a couple of states still, but they're soon to be only operating in Nevada. But if I bet at FanDuel, because Boyd here in Vegas uses FanDuel lines, you can get the FanDuel line. That's possible. DraftKings doesn't operate here in town. Now, I got people who have access to being able to make picks and plays for me when it comes to DraftKings, but they don't operate here, okay? BetMGM just opened up their book in Nevada. It's the same number, the same line across the country. So when I bet at BetMGM, you guys will have the same options where you are with BetMGM, okay? Outs. The key to gambling is outs. You should have multiple outs. If you don't have multiple sports books loaded for the college and pro football season this week, do that. In particular, if you're in a state that has mobile sign up, even if you're funding it for $50, just go and fund the account. Just open it, all right? You should have. I have accounts at Circa. I have accounts at the Westgate. I have accounts at BetMGM. I have accounts at FanDuel Boyd. I have accounts at what are the other books here in town? Because one of them just closed up. I had a Betford account, but that closed. I guess it was still open, but it's no longer. They don't do mobile here. I have a DraftKings account. But it's only when I'm outside. If I'm in Arizona, I have a DraftKings account. I will have a Sport Trade account when it opens in Arizona. I will have a Sport Trade account. So you get my drift here, okay? You have to have multiple outs. So if I have a bet that might not be perfect, you might get something close to it at a book that you're operating with. But that is so important to have multiple outs with multiple prices and shop prices. So vitally important to shop prices. Anyways, back to Clemson. The number is 13.5 at DraftKings and FanDuel. It's 13 at Circa and the Superbook. I'm going to look at an alt spread here for this game. So let's talk a little bit about where Cade Klubnik is. He didn't play well at the beginning of last year. If you remember, we faded him. He didn't look right. He didn't look good. But this is Dabo Swinney with a really talented football team, and the biggest question mark that they've got is at the quarterback position. Now, they've got some wideouts that need to step up, and maybe they've got, they don't have the T. Higgins type of wideout crew that they have at Clemson. Klubnik is not Trevor Lawrence, even though he was billed as the next Trevor Lawrence. But Dabo Swinney made some very interesting comments on a radio show in South Carolina this week about the confidence that the team gleaned from the end of last year. He said, "We won 5 in a row, and we probably beat our toughest opponents down the stretch." And he went, meaning Cade Klubnik, went head-to-head against some of the great quarterbacks and won every matchup. If you look at their schedule, he's not wrong. They played Notre Dame at home and won the game 31-23, a game that I bet Notre Dame to win, and Clemson won the game outright. They beat Georgia Tech 42-21 in a big rivalry game. They beat North Carolina, and they beat Drake May, the then third pick in the draft. They beat Drake May in North Carolina 31-20. They went on the road to South Carolina, an SEC team, into a hostile environment. They went into Williams-Brice Stadium, and they won the game 16-7 on the road. Then they played in a bowl game against Kentucky out of the SEC, and they won the game 38-35 on a last-second drive orchestrated by Cade Klubnik. He played really, really well down the stretch. And I think there's something to Clemson flying under the radar, because 5 years ago, if I had told you that Clemson would open up against Georgia and they would be 13.5-point dogs, wouldn't you go, huh, really? Like, Georgia's good, but are they 2 touchdowns better than Clemson? We saw dogs barking extremely loudly, and I mean loudly barking last week, to the tune of 4-0. All 4 dogs covered last week in college football, in FBS college football. So here we are, as Dabo Sweeney said, to beat Notre Dame that punched us in the mouth the year before, to see us dominate that game, to beat Georgia Tech, to beat Drake May in North Carolina, to go to South Carolina and then win that bowl game. That was big for us. And how we won it, I think it created a lot of momentum for Cade. This kid plays well. Clemson can make the college football playoffs. Clemson's been down. People have questioned whether or not Dabo Sweeney can recruit in the NIL world. Maybe we've been sleeping a little bit on Clemson. Maybe they're going to give Georgia a scare. Do I think they win the game? I don't. But Carson Beck is going to be a Heisman Trophy candidate, we think. We've already seen one top 10 team go down on a neutral field in Florida State over in Dublin, but still. Could Georgia get beat at the Mercedes-Benz Dome? No, I don't think so. But 13.5 points? It's a lot of points. I sure as heck don't want to get hooked, however. It's week 0 or week 1. I don't want to lay this number, but I think you have to. You can buy a half a point. In Vegas, it's 13 everywhere. So to get to 14, you have to go to 140. But if you go to FanDuel and you go to the alternative spread, Clemson plus 14.5 at FanDuel is minus 132. So it's 14 or minus 140 here in Vegas at most of the shops here. But FanDuel Boyd, you can go and move the number to 14.5 at minus 132. Well, I don't love laying that juice. I've bet baseball games at minus 132, so why wouldn't I bet a football game with an alternative spread where if the game falls 14, we win? Again, you could move this to 14 and not pay as much juice. Get it to 14. But I'd rather win. And again, you only pay the juice if you lose. I'm going to do it. Clemson plus 14.5 alternative spread at minus 132. It's 1.32 units down. I know it's week 1. I know it's dangerous. Clemson could destroy if Cade Klubnik goes out there and throws 3 picks. Clemson might get blown off the field by Georgia. Okay, it's possible. I'm not going to debate it. And then I might be kicking myself for laying 1.32 units down on this. But I think to get 14.5 to get through that number, I think it's worth it. And we don't have to do a teaser of some sort. We don't have to have another side. It's still just one leg that has to hit for us to win. Clemson plus 14.5 up against Georgia. We're going to come in and take that for 1.32 units coming up this weekend for college football with the number 1 team in the country taking on Clemson with Georgia and Clemson. Every day, I'll give you another one tomorrow. Give me another one on Wednesday. Then we have Thursday. Then we have Friday. Then we have Saturday. We have Sunday. We have Monday. So lots of college football to get into. A lot of bets coming. First bet is Clemson plus 14.5 up against Georgia. Okay. Second bet. Let's talk Tigers, White Sox. Did you know that the 2003 Detroit Tigers hold the record for the most losses in American League history with 119? Did you also know that this record is being threatened here by this year's Chicago White Sox? The White Sox are ahead of pace for the 2003 Tigers. The numbers are pretty wild when you stop and think about how many losses that this team currently has for the White Sox. It's never fun when a team gets beat this badly, but it is a little fun. Through Sunday, the White Sox are 31-100. The Tigers, through 131 games, same number of games that the White Sox have played, they were 33-98. So the White Sox have a 2-game lead. This year's White Sox have a 2-game lead on the 2003 Tigers for the most losses in American League history. The MLB record is 120 losses set by the 1962 Mets. So technically, the White Sox are on track to break that record as well, to have the most losses ever. They get to 121. No one's ever lost 121 baseball games in a single Major League Baseball season, and the White Sox are on pace to do that. The White Sox this year against the run line are 54-77. That is a 41.2% clip of winning on the run line for the White Sox. Only the Mariners are worse at 53-78. On the other side, Detroit is 70-61 on the run line, 53.4% of the time. The run line comes in for the Detroit Tigers. The Tigers are throwing a rookie in Ty Madden out there, okay? Youngster, kid's only 24 years of age. Big start for him. The White Sox have no pitching, like none. And when they're not throwing, one of their quote-unquote arms, they're going to throw openers, okay? Crochet is going 3 innings. He's their ace. They're throwing Davis Martin, who is a 27-year-old from Texas, an 0-2 record with a 3.22 ERA. He's been okay this year. I mean, he's lost, let's see how many starts in a row. The team has lost every game he has started, the team has lost this year. 5 of them. 6-3, 10-2, 3-2, 10-2, 4-1. He's given up 2-1-0 in a 3-2 loss to Oakland. 4 and 1 earned runs in his starts. He only went 2 innings or 2 2/3 innings in the 6-3 loss to Seattle. Did you know the White Sox in their last 10 games have lost every one of those games on the run line? They lost to the Tigers 9-4, 13-4, and 5-2. Okay? This is a team that has just been reeling, and every step of the way, they've been just absolutely the worst team in baseball. And Detroit goes for a 4-game sweep here up against 5-2, 13-4, 9-4. Like, this is just one of those games where you're going to go, you know what? We're going to bet the streak here because the White Sox are absolutely awful. They can't score at all. This season, Detroit is 8-1. This will be the last time they'll play in Chicago this season. The last 3 games at the end of the year are in Detroit. The Tigers will have a say in this as to how the White Sox finish and do they break the record or not. But here are the final scores for the games won by the Tigers. The first game of the year was 1-0. Second game of the year was 7-6. The third game of the year was 3-2. Those games were all played in Chicago. Then it was 2-1 on the 21st of June. And after that, all heck broke loose. A 5-1 win by the White Sox, but then the Tigers won 11-2, 5-2, 13-4, and 9-4. That's 4 consecutive wins here. They're 8-1 on the year, and the last 4 games have all been on the run line. For the White Sox, like I mentioned, if you look at when they lose baseball games, they lose them on the run line. Now, they beat San Francisco back on the 21st of August, 6-2. But 9-4, 13-4, 5-2, 4-1, 5-3, 2-0, 6-1, 10-2. That right there, 10 straight losses, all on the run line for the White Sox. Doing it again, White Sox to lose. Detroit laying 1.5 runs at plus 105. 1 unit down on the Tigers on the run line on the road against the White Sox here tonight. Plus 105 for 1 unit. Lastly, we're going to go to the WNBA, and it's been a fun year betting the WNBA. I mean, I don't think I've been the most outstanding bettor when it comes to my record on the WNBA, but it's been fun, and it's more than just Caitlin Clark. I mean, I think we've had a good success looking at different teams and different options. The New York Liberty have been a team that I've enjoyed betting and have enjoyed watching this year play, and it's been fun to watch some other teams besides Caitlin Clark and the Las Vegas Aces, because those are really the teams that I've been betting the most. We're 22-20 this year betting on the WNBA. So with the juice, we're down a little bit. We're down a couple of units on it, but hitting at a 52.3% clip. We're just juiced out on some of these plays for the W, but we've had some success. We haven't been crushing it, but we haven't been like baseball, This podcast is entirely in the red because of baseball. Like, literally, if you cut out baseball, we have no problems with our record. I mean, baseball betting has just been as bad as it's ever been for me this year with Major League Baseball. 3 years ago, it was really bad. 2 years ago, it was bad. Last year, we won 1 unit in baseball, amazingly enough, because I had a great September betting baseball. Maybe that'll happen again, but I'm not making up 20 units. Our futures are going to look good, so we'll cut into the deficit with with our future win total bets for teams. But yikes, the only description is yikes as to what's been going on. But let's talk about New York at Phoenix. So the last 10 times these two teams have played, 6-4 to the under, 5-5 ATS. Last time they played in Phoenix, 99-93. They win for Phoenix. The total was 171.5, and the game went over. Game in New York, line was 172.5 from a total perspective. The game went under. Last time in Phoenix, last year, 83-63. The game went under 164, but this game obviously is being played here this year. 2 games, 1 under, 1 over. The game in Phoenix went over. This game will be played coming up in Phoenix. Now, New York on the road, last time against Vegas, it went under. On the road against LA, the game went over. Against Chicago, the game went under. And the game in Connecticut, it went under as well. For the Phoenix Mercury at home, last time they played at home was against Chicago, 86-68 the win. That game went under, but they've only played 1 home game going all the way back to the 12th of July. Against Dallas on the 10th of July, the game went over 172.5. It was a 100-84 victory there. This year, New York 15-16, 16-15 to the under. Same thing with Phoenix, 16-13-1 to the under. But this number seems pretty low, 163.5. Most of these totals when these teams have played have been 171.5, 172.5, 164.5, 166.5. This is 163.5. I think this number is too low. We're going to see offense tonight. New York at Phoenix. We're going over 163.5 for New York and Phoenix here. A bit of an overcorrection on this. Again, this time was played in Phoenix. It was 171.5, and that game went over. This is 163.5. We're going over. Over 163.5 for Phoenix, hosting New York tonight in the W for 1.1 units. Okay, so 3 bets and 3 sports here on a Monday, but one of the bets is for this coming weekend. Clemson in Georgia. Alt number at FanDuel plus 14.5 for Clemson. Minus 132, 1.32 units down on that game coming up this weekend. Tigers at the Mercedes-Benz Dome in Atlanta up against the number 1 team in the country. Plus 14.5 and minus 132. We're going Tigers run line against the White Sox to complete a 4-game sweep, all on the run line at plus 105. And Phoenix and New York, we're going over 163.5 for 1.1 units in the W. My name is Matt Perrault. Follow me across all socials at Sports Talk Matt every morning. The Daily Juice Podcast, presented by BettingPros.com.